but we need it, right? We are talking about the art of releasing control, managing teams, right? This is a safe space. I'm so happy that we have women of color to give these perspectives because there's so much intersectionality and nuance and fear and healing that comes with this. So I'm excited about the ladies that are going to pour into all of us right now. And before we dive into the strategies and the tips, et cetera, I definitely want each woman to introduce herself. So I will go around the horn. And if you could, please tell us not only what you do today, right, but how you stepped into entrepreneurship as well. That would be amazing. Andrea, let's start with you. Uh-oh, you're on mute, mama.
So I'm super excited to be here. And so today what I do is I have my own business and I work as a body therapist. And my focus is to, let's say, accompany everybody that wants to live in a space in which the nervous system is way more relaxed. And how I got here is because for 7 years, I worked in financial project management. I lived in Europe, I lived in the States, then I came back to my home country, which is Colombia in South America. And I had the experience of managing teams. And then, on my own personal journey, my body started sending signals. I had panic attacks, I had like chronic pain in my back. And then I started just searching and became super curious about, why my body was doing this. So that shifted my attention. And that's how I decided, okay, I'm going to, let's say, switch my career path. And now I dedicate my time to work with people. So working with enterprises, I teach their teams how they can build like better leadership, how they can access more creativity, but always focusing on the body and the signals that the body is sending to be way more relaxed. So that's what I do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us, representing the continent of South America. I love it, love it, love it. And I have to follow that up with my favorite scientist to stay in that vein of understanding the body. Denicia, please tell everyone who you are and how you stepped into entrepreneurship and what you do today.
Ew, yes. That was like perfect. I love the lineup. Hey, everybody. I'm Denicia Hilton Harper, and I'm a Dr. of Eastern Medicine and holistic well-being consultant. My business now, the way that it looks now, right, is creating these playful experiences for women to discover and actually be her perfect authentic self while optimizing her holistic health. I got to this point through my start into entrepreneurship was actually just graduating. So I graduated and didn't have, I thought about it a little bit of like, oh, maybe I'll go work for a clinic or something, but I was like, my body didn't like that. So I just kind of just started right out of school. And flip-flopped, tried all sorts of things along the way to get to where it is that I'm at now through various phases and evolutions. The way that I view leadership, it's really cool. I hope I'm saying it right, Andrea? Okay, awesome. I actually do work with other organizations or other coaches, consultants for their clients as well, as far as what does leadership look like for them? And how do you know what your style is? And I actually employ a foundation from Eastern Medicine so that if they know what their predominating styles are, and as a leader, you can leverage that. You're actually minimizing the stress that is on the body and the mind and the spirit for those that are on the team. It's like some, get scared. I don't want to do that because they might leave and everything else. But it's like, you know what? But you're going to get the best of the best out of them. While minimizing other healthcare costs, right? Right. Due to tardiness or doctor's appointments, medications, and all of that stuff that the company would otherwise end up paying for. So I love bringing in that intersection of holistic health and leadership. And that's where I'm at now, so looking forward to hearing from everybody else's perspectives.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Denicia. I'm going to kick it to you, Victoria. Please share your story with us and what you do today.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is so all of these beautiful. My name is Victoria Campbell, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I say that with pride. I say that with hesitancy. I say that with, oh my God, is that like a real job? Because I grew up in an era where that was not a thing. It was called side hustles. It was called, oh, she got 11 jobs. It was called, yeah, your Jamaican is showing up and I see it in how you work. And it was never given the respect or the honor or the education or the funding that it deserved. I was a young mom in a young marriage, and we didn't have a lot of money and we had to make things work. And so, like many of the people on this call, it all started at a kitchen table. It started with me doing notary signing, like notary services on the side and doing extra little pickup jobs at like law firms. One of my favorite stories to tell that y'all can come and hear me tell in at one of the tables is how I signed up for a job at a call center, or at least I thought it was a call center, but the kind of calls they wanted me to make were not the kind of calls I wanted to be making. And so over time, these experiences led to what I like to call those power skills, those soft skills that allowed me to build up and grow up in the corporate world and in education. And that's where my background is. And, eventually I just reached a point where I was working 80 hours a week and there was no joy in my work. I enjoyed what I did, but I didn't find joy in the work because I was tired and overwhelmed. And nobody was there to tell me, you know what, it's okay to be like, I'm tired and I'm overwhelmed. And so where I found that space is creating the space for myself in entrepreneurship. And so I am a consultant. I have been for the last 10 years. In addition to that, I am a certified yoga instructor because I believe in wellness and health and that it should not be something that people gatekeep and keep from us. So mad props to Andrea and Denicia for the work that they do. And I recently started a business last year where I specialize in fragrance and wellness products because joy, be damned, it is not a thing that should be deferred. It's a birthright. And so I stand in all three of my jobs trying to help people find that space. And on top of that, I'm having a whole lot of fun doing it. And please do not confuse that with that it's not hard. It's hard and I'm having fun. Full stop. On to that.
So good. So good. I'm loving the range, the diversity of experiences, the honesty. It's the honesty for me about how we are still figuring out how to navigate this thing, but how we got here through trial and error. Last but definitely not least, Taylor, please do share with us about yourself, your company, and how you stumbled across entrepreneurship, if it was a stumble.
Listen, you guys are giving me chills, so I'm getting excited. But hello everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Taylor Burris, and I am the co-founder of the AI Hub, which is an art incubator that supports artists and entrepreneurs leveling up and giving them the opportunities to grow and get paid opportunities. So I'm just resonating completely with Victoria because I came into entrepreneurship in a space of disarray and internal conflict. So I was working for a magazine, I was working in radio, I was on product, I was on sets, I was personal assistant, I was doing so much that I drove up to the magazine where I was working at, and I felt like I was going crazy. I said, my head is not right. And all these spaces that I was in, I was managing teams out of a space of, you're not doing your job right, now I have to step and fix everything. And it wasn't my responsibility to do that, but my head and the way that I work, it's like, if you're not going to do it, I can't let this situation fall. Let me step up and do it for you and get it done right. So in all these spaces, I forced myself into this position of leadership, and I observed the way that other leaders were working and operating. And I said, this is not okay. I don't want people to feel this way. I don't want people to feel disrespected. I don't want people to feel like they're not cared for in a space that is sucking them dry. So I took a leap of faith and actually like quit all of my side hustles and all my jobs. And I said, no, I can do this better, and I can provide better opportunities and like reduce all these issues when it comes to leadership. And that's when I started my first business. It was called Untailored Solutions, where I thought I was somebody. And this was still when I was in college. I thought it was somebody. Like, I had a volunteer, I had an intern, I had a personal assistant. I was like, you do this, and you do this, and you do this. And then I had a baby when I graduated college, and I realized I'm a team of one at that point. And I said, well, how am I treating myself as my own boss? Like, am I actually showing up for myself? Am I respecting myself? Am I actually caring for my own mental health as my own boss, and really reflecting on that? So when I had the opportunity to open my brick and mortar out in Kansas City, Missouri, I am now working with my better half and my brother. And leadership had to be redefined for me, because now family is involved. And how am I really treating those people that I love when we go home? Am I still in the business mode if I'm the boss and you to do what I say? So it's been a definite journey, and I love it. And I love that I'm able to provide opportunities and a safe space for not only my family, but other people in the community. So I'm so glad to be on this panel with you all, and you guys are amazing and lovely. So I'm excited.
Shay, so good. So good. We're in good hands, everybody. Somebody put in the chat, good hands, good hands. I am excited to dive into this. And, Taylor, you said something when you started at the start of your journey. You said, I was the type of leader that did the things that my team didn't do because I couldn't not let it happen, right? And then there's so much weight in that word, could not, right? A lot of times for us, we are afraid, Black women, right? Women of color, we are afraid to let the ball drop. But we need to unpack why. Like, we can't talk about releasing without talking about the fear, right? So let's get into it. Andrea, I want to start with you. Why do you think that we are so fearful of relinquishing control in business?
So the first thing that I want to share is that controlling has a lot to do, like if we think about how the mind works, controlling has a lot to do with safety. If I feel that I am safe, then I am able to, let's say, I would mention it as sharing, sharing leadership, or sharing or delegating, or even at home, like telling our partners, okay, you can do this, you can take care of the kids, you can do that. But if we don't feel safe, and that's when the whole nervous system comes in for me, it's like, if we are on this high alert, then we're going to want to control, okay? That's kind of like one of the ways of the mind to give us the sensation that we are safe. And to me, it also has a lot to do with scarcity and abundance. And it does depend a lot on where we came from and what's our story. So if as children we grew up in a safe space, then it's more likely that, that we can connect better with the fact that, abundance is provided by the universe. And if not, then we are like in a scarcity mode. So relinquishing control, when I understood it and I knew that it had a lot to do with my own safety and my own survival, then I was able to, let's say, okay, why is it triggering my survival? So if I talk about my business, or I talk about my experience as a manager in my finance life, when we're managing teams, it's like, where is the fear for that person? Just like you just mentioned, Casey. And for some has a lot to do with, let's say, money. Am I going to be able to pay the rent? For some has a lot to do, am I going to be able to grow up in my career? So if we are able to identify each person through different techniques and opportunities, then we can say, okay, whenever I step into this, let's say, high control alert, then I know that my safety is a thing that's being triggered. And then I can look for options on how to step away from this fear and then move a little bit more towards relaxing and then starting to trust also at my own pace. because I'm a big fan of respecting the natural rhythm of the body and of the mind, and that's unique. So for every single human, that's very unique. So that would be my first answer.
Yeah, that is so good. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, so one thing that really resonated with what you just said and is so important is going back to what is the environment you are cultivating these instincts to come out of you. So when I was growing up, my mom, she was a single mom raising 2 kids, and she was going back and forth from Colorado to Virginia. So her survival instincts were always going, like everything was a make or break moment. If I don't do this, like my kids won't have food. If I don't do this, so everything is high alert. So thinking about what you said, I think what I realized last week is I was doing the same thing. I said something dropped on the ground. Why am I saying, oh my gosh, if that drops on the ground, my whole business is going to fail? Like what is going off me? You guys didn't listen to me and close the door at that certain time. The whole building's going to go up in flames. I'm like, no, that's not realistic. And I'm putting that pressure on myself. It was putting that pressure on my team, that now everyone is always on high alert, always extra, always on high alert. Just the mindset was just crazy. So I had to take a step back and realize, oh, I am getting this from my mom. Oh, I did get that from my auntie. Oh, I did get that from my grandma. And not everything is going to fall down if something doesn't get done right here, right now. So that I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I had to reflect on those moments recently to figure out how to better on the way I function. Yeah.
But another key point to that, and you just hit on it, the both of you, is the self-reflection to look at it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay for it to fail. I think as Black women, we live in such places and spaces that there are severe consequences for things that other people do, and it's just a part of lifing, right? Like it's okay to make a mistake at work. It's okay to not have it all together. It's okay to be like, I can't do the one thing I wanted to do for my business this week because my life is demanding, or my body is demanding that I do something else. And often we don't have support systems or networks or encouragement or education or histories that allow us to believe and see that. So that's a space of when I create my teams, it's one of the things that I have been always almost adamant about, because when I was on a team, I never got shown that. So I tell people, you know what your job is, right? I only have 4 children. Last I checked, you're not one of them. And so ultimately, if you're doing your job, you and me are going to be great. If you have questions about your job, come check with me. If you don't have the support you need to get it done, let's talk about it. But ultimately, creating environments where people feel like it's okay to fail, as much as you tell them it's okay to succeed, make sure you're also telling them it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay not to have it all together. That's why we're a team. Those two things you said just kind of like caught me at the back of the neck, because I'm like, that's the thing nobody ever says. It's okay though.
That's
it's
right.
Okay though. So yeah.
That's good, Victoria. And Denise, I'm kicking it over to you as well. Because I want all of us who are on this high alert and are feeling unsafe, you are not crazy. You are not wrong. Like the truth of the matter is, we had to be 150% qualified to get the job, right? And we work beside, many of us have, the mediocre white man, right? Who does not know his job, but he's good. He is good, right? The truth of the matter is, science used to teach, literally the father of OBGYN, theology, understanding, medicine, etc., said Black women don't feel pain. I'm talking about books still refer to that today, right? So we often step into environments. We didn't make it up. Grandmama didn't make it up. Big mama didn't. She wasn't going loony, right? We step into environments where people don't see us as human, right? And they actually think that we got lucky by getting a job. Somebody did a favor. It was affirmative action, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? But I agree with everything these ladies have said. Nope. Actually, when you create your company, you have the divine honor of setting and establishing culture. And it does not have to be that way. You can create safety for yourself and your people. And you can tell them, like Victoria said, it's okay to fail. You'll figure it out. It's like cooking rice, right? First it's mushy, then it's real hard. Then you get the reps in. I love that, ladies. Denise, you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out that rice in my Instant Pot, by the way.
Listen.
I'm like, one recipe say 10 minutes, one say 4. I'm like, which one is it?
Listen, girl. Let me tell you, I tried in the Instant Pot. I'm gonna tell you, I went back to the regular pot because the regular pot rice don't fail.
I grew
The regular
up
pot
on with the
rice don't
regular
fail.
pot. I'm like, try it.
Listen, go back to regular pot rice. We'll be all right. It'll be okay.
Oh man, but like really what I was thinking about too was so a couple of things Andreas had mentioned, and one of the biggest things is actually surrender. And is what I got from that. And I can see where it is that we may have some difficulty in surrender because there's a very subtle difference between the surrender by our choice and the surrender that is ancestrally by force. And so then you can kind of see where you control out of fear, right? And so it's like what happens when we think about control, we do this because you putting them claws in there, like and at the same time it's like this seeing that it is your choice, like you're not being forced. So I think if you can sit with that and like assess, like do a quick assessment and realize that yes, I actually have this choice, to do so. And another thing is rhythms that Andrea mentioned, like, yes, for sure. Learning, for me, like that's the biggest thing too, is realizing like, oh, what might seem like it was a failure was actually a rhythm. Like there are certain things and during certain times of the month or certain times of the year, right? Like certain services or certain products that people might be paying more attention to, hence why you see marketing cycles the way that they are. And so it's kind of like being able to take that like perspective of, oh, maybe this isn't that season, like for this in particular, but it might be like for a couple more weeks later. So maybe not necessarily give up on it. It wasn't necessarily a failure. It was just more of like a learning experience at that time. And then it can kind of like pull it off the shelf for later, right? And then when it comes to people, it's allowing them to realize and learn their own rhythms, right? And you can set that example. So it's like, and I feel like we can do it in a way with ease. I think when the trendy part of setting boundaries happened, it actually swung to the other side, to the point that it almost, your boundaries, if you think about a castle and those fences, you also set up stuff to keep things out, which could be the growth and expansion and possibilities of things that you didn't even think about. So I like to look at it as like the pericardium that protects and cases the heart. It actually is very pliable because the heart's a muscle, but it covers it. So it's like in that way, like trusting that it's going to be pliable, and trust that what needs to come in is coming in and what needs to go out is going out. And for those people, right? Like when I bring on interns, I tell them, Victoria, I feel you. I know my style is, look, this is what I need done. Just do what you do. You have to know when you're going to be able to do it. I'd much rather you do it when you know you're in that creative space, or you can pay attention to detail more better at these certain time points. That's all gravy. If I need to teach you how to assess that for yourself because you may not be aware of that, let's do it. As long as I get this done by this time, like we're game. And I'm also that type of person when I was working for other people, is just tell me the deadline and then leave me alone. Like, and I'll come to you if I have questions about what it looks like and all of that stuff, But I think that's huge, is learning the rhythms, the surrender in a way that's surrender by choice versus surrender by force,
Mhm.
and realizing that you're not being forced,
Mhm.
right? Like that's just something that's part of our heritage that can be healed, and the healing can happen, like, and it does happen. So like kind of explore where that stuff is at.
Ashe, so good. Again, the range is just incredibly beautiful, and sobering too, right? Because we shouldn't err too much on one side or the other. All of you have spoken a bit at this point about your styles in managing people or delegating to people or giving people freedom, right? And I think we need to double click on that a bit as well, especially for folks who are new to leadership or are holding themselves back, right, from hiring. Taylor, I'm going to pivot this question to you, right? It's definitely important to hire good people, find the right people, right? But I've heard you say before that it's important to incentivize them the right way as well, right? So what are your tips around incentivizing your employees for recruitment, retention, any of that good stuff?
Yeah, and that's very hard. So what I had to realize is that nobody will care about your business more than you. And that was hard for me to sink in. I'm like, well, this is so great, and this is this, and this is that. But I'm the only one who cares about it. I'm the only one who's showing up on time. I'm the only one who shows up every time. So in order to incentivize my team, I had to get them to understand how to care. So for example, I have somebody that works with me, and I said he is amazing artist, the singer, and he would show up when he wants to show up. And when I give him an assignment to do, it's never done. So I said, okay, what will make you care? What will make you want to be here? Because you're asking me for a lot, but when I ask you one thing, it doesn't get done. So when he said, well, I really care about shows. I really care about putting on a podcast. And I said, oh, well, that was my mistake, because I never asked you what you were even good at. I just assumed based off of the discussions we had. I didn't ask you what you wanted to do. So let's get you in a position where you'll actually care about what's happening, so that you will want to show up, so that you will want to do X, Y, Z, or else I'm going to have to bounce you and find somebody new. And having those honest and open conversations were really important. And that even goes with my partner. So I am a co-founder of my business. And at some point, he was like, I don't even want to be here. And I had to reflect, the problem is me. The problem is really me. I'm used to barking orders, and you need to do this, and it needs to get done, this X, Y, Z. And I realized we're partners, and I need to learn to be a follower in order to be a good leader. So taking that step back and actually listening to what people are telling me, listening and valuing his opinion before I respond, actually valuing and hearing what he's saying, helped me grow as a leader. And that was important. And not only with my direct team, but people who come to me about ideas and partnerships and all these different things. I had to learn to listen and understand and get their perspective before I step in as the leader and say, no, it needs to be my way. So that was it's a very humbling experience every single day, but it's so important to know how to listen and to take a step back and to be a follower to improve your leadership skills. So.
Yeah, beautifully articulated. So many gems in that. Does anyone else have anything they want to add from their own styles and approaches?
I do. I want to take something that Taylor mentioned that I found beautiful, because something that I also do is I work as a doula, and that means I work with pregnant women and in this postpartum. And something that I learned while I was doing my training is that as women, something that is naturally, let's say, ingrained in our beings is caring. So I loved it when Taylor said, like teaching them how to care. And I want to like pivot a little bit from that, and it's just helping them maybe remember what is it that they really care for, because we all care for something naturally. And that just takes me to a beautiful tool that I use a lot in my practice, and it's the nonviolent communication. And identifying what I need can also be an incentive. For example, when I was in a corporation, for me, having my own personal time and being able to arrange my schedule was very important. So like my need for autonomy, I would say. So I talked to my boss and I said, I will get everything done, but just kind of like what Denicia said, like, give me the deadline, you'll have it, whenever you need it. but I really want to be able to go to my yoga class, to do my training. So I used to go to like yoga during lunch break. And that was allowed for me. And that's when I knew this is so important. So I started talking to my team at that time. What is important for you? So I had someone that was a single mother. So she wanted to go home by 4 p.m., but she was committed to come in at 7 a.m. She wanted to do home office 2 days of the week, and so on and so forth. You know, someone wanted like more coaching because he wanted to like move up the ladder. And so I think a big incentive for me and in my experience is, and especially as women, since we are so driven by what others like the outside, you know, the kids, the husband, the company, the, you know, the dream. It's like, what do I need? You know, maybe I need to rest. Maybe I need autonomy. Maybe I need this. So whenever we help people that are working with us or for us to identify that, and then we are able to provide an environment in which they can satisfy that need, that can be a big incentive in my experience.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say that is so awesome, and it kind of speaks to like my answer to this question is empathy. What you both described is empathy, and we tend to think of empathy as this really touchy-feely thing that it can only be, it's got to be about feelings, and it's about concession, and you know I can't give away my whole business trying to make everybody happy. But that's not what empathy is. Empathy is the exploration of you acknowledging that other people have needs and agency just like you. They like people there's some people who show up for work just for their check. And truth be told, that might be your best worker once you understand that's the only reason they show up to work. Okay. There's also empathy in recognizing that the same way you are having challenges as a business owner, this person may be having challenges in their general life. I think the thing that happens when we become bosses and entrepreneurs and founders is that we often in a like laser sight focus attempt to stay on task and to get things done, we forget like what it's like when you're not a founder. And honestly, that lack of empathy is often why we still are having these discussions about childcare and work-life balance and people not reaching the goals that they want to reach, because I think people in the position to make these decisions lack empathy. And so I would encourage anybody who's thinking about how to incentivize their team, you know, looking at the suggestions that Andrea and Taylor gave about, number one, asking and listening, but number two, being real honest with yourself about what you're creating when it comes to the work that you're trying to get done. It's not realistic for you to want to do the biggest project of your life on a holiday weekend. Why would you expect anybody to do that? And I find that we often make those kinds of crazy demands of people who work for us simply because they work for us. And then they quit. And then you're like, well, nobody wants to work. No, that's not it, sis. They want to work. They just don't want to work like that. So empathy and grace. Give what you want to get back as an employer. You want people to care about your business, care about their life. You want people to give you like permission to kind of figure your way, let them figure their way too.
I translate that. I hear what Victoria's saying is like, sis, your slip showing. Like, let me, like, it just snatched, okay? That's good love right there. That's good love right there. Denicia, you want to add anything? Oh, you're on mute, mama.
Yeah, how about that? So I was gonna point out, like, there were a couple of things that shouted out is like, sometimes even when you may ask what somebody needs, they may not know. And so we hear that often, right? Like something may happen. They're like, well, tell me if you need anything. And the thing is, they literally may not know. And so then this is where it is that like you can tie in, well, ask them what's happening within their body. And that can offer some insight, right? Like, and that's one of the things that I love about it, when you can understand what they have a physical function, right? Like the body has a physical function of some things, but they also have and carry that mental, emotional, and the spiritual aspect of things. And so like by learning that, if they're coming in with headaches or they're a little bit sluggish or something like that, and you see that, it's even asking, like, well, what is it? Like typically those headaches that are right there at the top of the head, they're frustrated about something. There's something in their life that is not moving the way that they're desiring it to move. And so then to kind of become aware of even those subtle nuances, not so much of like, go ahead and take something for it, but to create the space. That's what I heard too, was to create the space for the conversation. And especially if they're used to and accustomed to just like kind of going along robotically in kind of thinking the body's totally separate when it's actually they're integrated. Like once you are able to model that for them and invite that, then like it not only helps you as the leader in the business part, right? But it's them as well and how they're leading in their life. And you're showing and you're modeling that. The other thing too is values. They actually will learn what they value more, but they may not have actually had like a somewhat structured way of inviting those values to come out, and then seeing, okay, well, how can we support that? How can, like, what in this environment could I create so that it is in harmony with their values? Because otherwise that cringing that they'll have because it goes against it, like, and I experienced that, like, and I didn't even know what the heck values were, but I just knew I didn't want to take part in something in one of the business, like one of the companies I was working at. And I was like, that don't sound right to me. And they were just like, but I only Black woman there working in their office, like, well, it's da-da-da-da. And I'm like, nope, that don't sound right. And then I feel like I would possibly could lose my job because of the way they were looking at me and threats and whatnot. Yes. But at the same time, I knew if I went along with that and I was like, these people are trusting us with their money and I'm not doing that. And I still had a job. They found someone else to do what they wanted them to do. And I just said, my hands ain't gonna be on it because some come out, whatever. And so like, once again, though, that's surrender, that's faith. And so, but when you can identify that and help them identify those values, I think it'll like exude out,
And
in
isn't
that
it and
way.
isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how much COVID changed that for people? Isn't it amazing that
That's
something that was so like
yes.
literally
That's what
before
people
COVID,
saw were their values and
what
how their
people saw
values.
saw their values get
Yes.
checked, and now what it requires, and this is something again, as I will shamelessly plug Blaze Academy. Like literally, if you're a member of Blaze Academy, you're checking your emotional intelligence. Please remember, most people are not. Please remember that people are still trying to figure out healing that stuff that they got, that they bring to work with them every day. But COVID checked a lot of that. COVID put a lot of people on notice of, this ain't the way I want my life to go. It turned some of us into founders. It turned others into better workers. Everybody's not meant for this life. And that's where that empathy also comes back in. We can't sit in judgment of people who are like, nah, sis, you be in charge. I'm good right here. Because that's the decision they're making. I thought of something you just said when you were talking about surrender. How often do we sit in meetings and watch people not breathe? Out of fear, out of stress, out of, oh my God, this could have been a Zoom call, out of, oh my God, do we really need to do this? Like literally, we check out so much just acknowledging of the people that are in front of us. Take 2 seconds, literally just count to 3 and look at the person in front of you. And I guarantee you, you will see something that makes you shift how you come at that whole conversation.
So good. So good. And I think this is a good place to spin it back to the leader, right? So yes, we will be very, very keen to understand, to listen, to feel even what our employees are feeling. But the truth of the matter is, CEOs, chief everything officers, some of us, right? The body is actually just not meant to carry infinite amounts of stress. Like no matter how dope you are, no matter what college you went to, like you just can't, right? And many times the body will sit you down, but we actually shouldn't get to that point, right? And so I think it's important and I'd love to hear various perspectives on this. I think it's important we talk about this intersectionality of health and leadership, right? Like Because the leader that just keeps going 100 hours a week, 100 hours a week, 100 hours a week, like we know that's not sustainable. Like we know horrible things happen, right? We look at many of our greats and see so many issues they have mentally, nervous system, body, right? So what is the intersection? I won't even pin it too much, right? But what is the intersection of health and leadership? Andrea, I want to start with you. Denise, I'd love to hear your lens, and then anyone else can add.
Yeah, so one of the things that I believe is not taking into consideration is resting. And I really want to be very basic. We are animals, we are mammals, we're organisms. I have a dog. She's a new dog for me, so it's been 6 months. But she has taught me so much because we go out for a walk and then she comes home and then she just lays down on her bed and she takes like a 4-hour nap. She's absolutely just enjoying her rest. So a tool that I use for myself, and when you mentioned Casey, like we as leaders, it's super important that everything that we are asking of our team, that we're doing it too. And maybe that means even a little bit more of personal work. Sometimes it could be. And so one of the things, it's like a tool that it's called 8x3, and it's like 8 hours of resting, 8 hours of working, and then 8 hours of joy. And I love when Victoria said that. And I work a lot with pleasure. You know, when women are in postpartum, how do we reconnect with pleasure after that experience? So I would say either joy or pleasure. And if you take a look, sometimes the resting, let's say, portion is like very, very, very low. And if we are, and that happened to me, I really enjoy and I love my work. So I was confusing the fact that I was enjoying my work, but I wasn't resting. And it's two different things. So I would say, like, just to give a very specific tool, make sure that you know how you rest. I am going to give my personal example because that's what I know. To rest, I need silence. I need to be alone. And I need to make sure that my phone is not like with me on the same space. And I need to really like observe this urge of going and checking my email. And it can be there like a morning. And what do I do that morning? Whatever comes up, you know, if it's like laying on the couch, I'll lay on the couch. If it's like working with my plant, I'll work with my plants, go to the garden, but just allow yourself to really rest. And just to give some scientific info, and then I'm sure Denicia is going to add up to that. Whenever we are on high alert, we are not on homeostasis. And that means that our organism is thinking a lion, a tiger is going to come and eat me. So I need to be alert. That means I don't need to digest food. I might not get hungry. I might get an ulcer. I don't need to sleep because the lion can come at any time. So just really value the importance of rest. And I know that we are encouraged to work so much, but give it a try, because that's what I did. I gave it a try because my body told me, you're stopping. So whenever that happened to me, I was forced to stop. And then I figured out, well, if I rest, guess what? I am able to enjoy it more, but I'm also way more productive.
So good. Thank you so much, Andrea. Denicia?
You had me like sitting there too. I was just like, rest right now. And I love that. And it goes to like environment. So there was a couple of things, there's a few things that are just like right now for me. So environment in the sense of, yes, assessing the external environment. If you take a look around wherever you're working, like, right, it could be in an office, it could be your car, it could be at home, right? Like wherever you are. And actually, if you could just assess it, and you can even pick, you're constantly in response to your environment. So if that environment it looks cluttered, if it looks like, you know what, I'm not feeling this color palette anymore, or, you know, that chair facing that way, like I'm not feeling, and I think that is just such a tangible like, let me just be in my space, because that is a part of the safety, right? Like, and even like anytime you're sitting down, even for meditation, a big part of it, sure, the act of meditation, but it's actually the fact that you feel safe in your seat. You feel safe on the ground, that something is actually holding you. So I think it's even honoring literally the spaces. Like, there are times that I just sit in my car and I'm like, you know what, Squiddy, thank you so much. The car's name is Squiddy. But like, it's just like, it's the green Prius. Like, so like, but to like, and I know people, I want to say a lot of people are more West people with Marie Kondo, right? When she was talking about speaking to items and things that were in the spaces, and like people just shrugged it off and they joked about it. But the thing is like, once again, my background's in Eastern medicine as well, is like, there is a respect. There is a respect for things in the home. There is a respect for things in spaces. And when you realize like it's interacting with you all the time, including your food. So even then that can offer, like, if you are not, like, if you're constantly creating lunch meetings, right? Or constantly dinner meetings, or things are happening over breakfast, like, what is to nurture you can come through food, and your relationship with it is that, oh, you're a side piece. So then that is also saying like yourself is a side piece, right? Like, and everything else is going to be first. And so like, I feel like too, with a lot of the trainings out there, entrepreneurship trainings, and because I used to have these conversations, especially when I realized this connection, and I wasn't really, people weren't getting it. So they weren't like, no, not this time, right? And I'm like, oh, remember divine timing, but I had to remember that for myself, was that all these entrepreneurship trainings, they don't include the health, yet you're the person that's supposed to actually operate this and grow this business. And what I feel like is happening now is it's reactive. It's only, let us talk about it now because there's some anxiety, like, or there's some depression, there's some anger, there's some frustration or something. It's so reactive. And I really feel like business schools can offer this, put this in curriculum. All of like the nonprofits out there, the city entities that support entrepreneurs, VCs, all of that, like, industries themselves need to change, right? To have real estate, please, like, these teams, it doesn't have to be 24 hours all the time they're sitting there by their phones, you know. And I think too, it's honoring yourself and realizing that you're changing. I used to doula as well, Andrea, and I phased out because I realized for myself, as much as I enjoyed being there with her to facilitate that process, I was so on high alert. And I was like, because I'm feeling it. I used to dream about when they were going to go into labor too, so I kind of would start to expect it. But then I was just like, I'm not feeling this. So I'm going to phase this out. I love what I did. But like, you know, but that's a part of it, is like, is taking that. And I feel like we could be a lot more proactive. We can, when discussing business models, it's honoring that entrepreneur is that entrepreneur. So what tools can we bring in from the beginning, and then allow them to guide what the business model is and help them work through that business model. Like, just because it worked one way for one and they were also a skincare line doesn't mean that it's going to work the same for them. And so there are a lot of tools. Like I said, I use the body. I use the way that the symptoms come up for people. That's the way if you tell me you got a little bit of constipation issue and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're more meticulous. You're a little bit more detailed type of person. So then this type of model is more than likely going to work. This is who you need to talk to. Or when you're interviewing business coaches or something like that, see if this is their type of structure that they offer. You know, oh, you're the type that has insomnia. right? Like you might be a little bit, you jittery and all that stuff. You get all excited about ideas and everything. You want to do this and that and the other. It's like, super. This type of business model is more than likely going to work for you. This is as you interview, will they allow you to work on several projects at the same time? I've met some women that health issues stuff are arising and all this stuff, and then they start bringing in their business stuff and they're being told to focus on one thing, yet they can't. Like their body physically can handle several things. It's just that business coach doesn't know how to handle it. So it's more of, who are you inviting on your team as well, not just as you as a leader and your team. So it's like it's all an incubator, and everyone, like I said, is in response. So it's like, in what ways is it that those intersections, they're crossed? And I feel like there's just so much room for us to invite in health that is proactive versus it continuously being reactive, the way that it's structured right now as an afterthought, when I do believe it's built in from the beginning and from up front.
Ashe, so good. Before we move on, did anyone else have anything to add?
I wanted to add something, but from a bit of a different perspective. For all of my leaders, for all of my business owners, I want you to be mindful. Do not take advantage of people's poor wellness and sense of desperation. Even to this day, I have been in spaces where owners and leaders will straight up disrespect the people that work for them, and they'll just sit there and take it. And I'm like, what is happening right now? But it's crazy, because you're leveraging your position in order to, you're adding to the craziness. You're adding to the mind, whatever's happening in that person's mind. They probably don't even hear you right now. But that energy that you're giving them and that disrespect that you're throwing on their lives, you don't know what's going to happen when they go home and who they are a leader to, and how that is going to have a snowball effect and affect the future leaders that they're raising and building. You don't know what's happening at home. You don't know what's happening in their lives. So I just want to make sure that all leaders understand the position that you're in and respect the people that are around you, because you are also supporting other leaders in their own community. And when you are breaking down people's health and wellness even more, even after you, like you guys said, COVID helped a lot of people understand their value, but it also caused more damage for those who did not have that opportunity to understand their value. They were operating in that survival mode in their head, like, oh my gosh, now I don't have a job. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So you get tied to this person for 5, 10, 15 years and constantly being disrespected every single day. And I see it more often than I would like. And it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart, because we are all leaders in our own right, and we are all leaders building up other leaders. So I just want everyone to be mindful of how they are approaching every situation.
Thank you for that, Taylor. And it needed to be said, right? Like to keep it a buck, right? We know that Western cultures in working are capitalistic cultures, right? Like it is about exploitation, right? Like how can I get the most profitability out of this system for the least amount of cost, right? Like that's how we sum it up. But when we think about the people that are in there, right, it means you truly are hoping, right, that you find star people that can squeeze a nickel out of a penny. Like you hoping that somebody will work for 100-hour weeks as long as possible, and you turn your eye to it because hopefully I make enough money before they topple over, right? And so I think that's so important. I find myself even with family members a lot, especially as Blaze grows and we get a lot of let's say bring awareness different places, like even reminding people in my family when they come to me with these not crazy ideas, like they literally, like they've seen it, but I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that though. Like, no, like I want people to like have the ability to live anywhere in the world they want to and work whatever hours they want to and like take unlimited vacation and like get naps. And we can't do that if we trying to do your crap, like, so it is it is a lonely journey sometimes to build what you've never seen before, right? But I think Taylor's absolutely right. I think everyone's absolutely right. Like, the universe just always makes a way. Even if people would say that you can't get there by allowing your people to have autonomy, you can't get there by, having too much flexibility and remote teams, like, it always works out, right? Like, I loved hearing you all's tangible application of rest. Like, I learned the hard way. I mean, I'm talking about nervous system was on fire. Many people in the community saw me send out a long email at the top of the year, like, I got to put some things down, y'all, and because of that, my life today looks like in the morning, the first couple of hours is starting with me. Like, I'm on the treadmill exercising just because it's important for my body, like, not because I'm trying to be snatched, like 5 hours every single day I have R&R on my calendar, and I do not care how big your business is and how big your check is. Like, you can't reach me at that time because I got to be still. Like, I can't even ideate. I got to be still because my body, needs a different level of rest. But nothing has faltered, right? Like literally exponential gain because I'm more tapped into my body. It's like Solange, I said this on Tuesday in the panel discussion with those of you who were there. She said in her song, Weary, I'm gonna look for my body. I'll be back real soon. I'm gonna look for my body. I'm finally understanding what sis was talking about because things are infinitely more clear now that I'm back in my body, So ashe to all of this. We're going to wrap it up with the final question. Victoria, any quick words before we do?
Just a quick, I'm gonna speak, like all of my fellow panelists are amazing, but I'm gonna speak to the people in the room who are still trying to figure it out. Because if anybody knows me, I'm constantly on the grind. I struggle with this. And I think a lot of founders do. And I think there's a silent shame in it.
Yeah.
It's a silent shame in not having enough time and not having enough space and not being able to feel like you can carve out that time for yourself. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I have gotten ill not paying attention. Like, I'm better at it now, but I still struggle with it. I am mindful to the point where I block out lunch, rest, and prayer on my calendar like they're meetings, and I honor them the same way I would honor that money. And I'm saying that to you because there might not be somebody in your life who's looking at you and seeing you in distress and saying, take a breath, take a minute. It's okay. You can do it. And start with a minute. Like, we're talking like taking blocks of time, like literally walk outside. Leave your phone on the desk, walk outside. For the time it takes you to walk outside, that's some time. Tomorrow, double it. A week from now, triple it, to the point where you get that you're like actively seeking it for yourself. Do not feel like you have to sit in shame about it, because I'm a part of the Recoverers Club. You can be with me. You can be down with me. We can sit together. But literally, you will get to that place, but you have to actively start advocating for it. So take a minute.
Ashe. Thank you so much, Victoria. Another thing that needed to be said. All right, y'all, this has been robust. It's been very, very transparent, as you've witnessed, right? Like, it's been very honest. There's a whole range of opinions around the same topics, that folks have been talking about for eons, and we're still trying to figure it out. And so to close, I want to ask each of you a question. And I want you to be very, very vulnerable, okay? I want you to speak to yourself, okay? And give yourself the affirmation that you need in this season of leadership to go higher, right? The things that you know instinctively that you need to do right now, today, to transcend where you are in leadership. What would you say to that woman called Taylor, called Denicia, called Victoria, called Andrea? What would you say to her? And as you say this line, know that there are multitudes of women who are listening who needed to hear it as well. Andrea, I'm going to start with you. What would you say to yourself right now as you ascend to a higher level of leadership?
I would say to Andrea that it's okay to be in a dark mental space sometimes. it's okay to feel emotionally out of balance sometimes. And remember that there's something bigger that's holding you, and you will get through.
Okay. Felt. Whew, so good. Denicia, what would you say to Denicia as you ascend to the next level of leadership?
That's pretty much as much as I feel like all these things need to happen right now. That I can trust and I surrender to the divine plan that is uniquely mine. And that includes the timing, and that it all may be perfect under grace and in all its perfect ways. It's just literally, I surrender to that divine plan and timing.
Ashe. So good. Thank you, Denicia. Victoria, coming over to you. What would you say to Victoria as she ascends to the next level of leadership?
Oh, dear heart. There are days when I know it doesn't look right. I know it doesn't look like it's going to be okay. I know that you have put in 1000% and feel like you are getting absolutely nothing back for it. But let's go back. Look back a year ago. Look a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Look at how far you've come. Look at all the things that didn't look like they would be the things that they are now, and they sit here right in front of you. Look at just the last year. Put your mouth on it. Speak what you seek until you see what you said. Keep believing in you when nobody else does. All your best thing.
Ashe, so beautiful, so beautiful. And last but definitely not least, Taylor, what would you say to Taylor as she ascends to the next level of leadership?
I would say be patient with yourself and allow yourself to grieve. Grieve loss, grieve projects not going well, and grieve about who you were, and then move on. You will never be that person who you were. You didn't have those experiences back then. You didn't have those lessons back then, and understand who you are now and elevate. Go from there. Just grow from there. Don't stay in that space of darkness, of grieving, of looking at the past, because the past is not, this is not the past. This is the present, and we need to get to the next step. Yeah.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. And to Casey, I will say, though it is terrifying and so unfamiliar, lean into and accept the love that continues to propel you higher. You are worthy of unconditional love. It will not fail you. It will not go away. It will not abandon you. You have finally found it. Ashe and amen. Ladies, thank you so much for pouring and lifting all of us, for teaching us, for being patient with us in this hour. You all are the best. And to everyone else, we will see you in the next session. Keep going. Don't stop. We have more to give. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I am so excited to hang out with all you blazing women today. So listen, I want you to eliminate distractions. I want you to really lean in to what we're going to talk about, especially if you serve in leadership. Now, I'm going to define leadership for you, because some people may say, well, Kathy, I don't really lead anybody, but that is not my definition, because sometimes you are leading people as a silent leader. People are watching you all the time. And so while you may not get paid to lead, you are still a leader. And I want to build that in you. All right. So let's jump right in to our essential leadership skills. So let's talk about it, y'all. This is not the Kathy Taylor Show. Let's make that clear right now. This is us having this robust conversation about what is essential leadership skills? What do you need to know? How can I help you with that? And then we're just going to further the conversation. All right. So welcome to Be That Academy. Everything that I do is really focusing on people becoming your purpose and exploring your passion. So here's what I want to lean into today. I need to tell you all the things about me, like not in a way that is, oh, she thinks she's all that. But I mean, look at my glasses. I kind of do. And it's okay, right? All right. And then we're going to talk about Be That Academy. Then we'll get into the body of why we're here, which is essential leadership skills. We'll talk about my proprietary method, which is the ICARE model. And then I'll tell you what's next. So who is Kathy Taylor? Who is the founder of Kathy Taylor Consulting and Be That Academy? So I've spent over the last 30 years in education, training development, and as an entrepreneur. I actually started my first business when I was 17 years old, and that was an event planning business. I loved all things weddings, love, parties. I wanted to do all the things. And I grew that business and stayed in the event planning field until my late 30s. Yeah, something like that. And then I kind of transitioned as I finished college and really got into early childhood education and training development. Now, one of my proudest moments is defining and developing the Diary of a Grown-Up. So the Diary of a Grown-Up is all about embracing the changes and challenges that come with growth in life. So I wrote a book. I have a podcast called The Diary of a Grown-Up. It's available on Google and Apple and all the places, okay? And then I also do workshops because I believe that we are all one conversation away from change. And as adults, sometimes we kind of hold on to stuff and we don't want to talk about it because we think we're the only ones going through that. And what the Diary of a Grown-Up does is to help you understand, hey, you're not in this alone. And then why am I here today? It's about training and facilitating. So I work in the corporate field, the corporate sector. I work with nonprofits and higher education, dealing with training on leadership development and just people skills in general. All right, enough about me. Let me tell you what's coming soon that you need to know all the things about. Be That Academy. This is my newest love child. Be That Academy embodies everything that I feel I want my life work is around helping people understand their passion or understand their purpose. So becoming your purpose and really exploring your passion. This is going to be a space for multi-passionate entrepreneurs, creatives, and thought leaders who believe every project is essential. And they just need help prioritizing, communicating, and executing what that vision or brand looks like. I believe you don't have to do this or that. You can do this and that. And I want to help you understand what that looks like. All right. So why are we here? To talk about essential leadership skills. My proprietary method is based on this quote. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Theodore Roosevelt said this quote, and it really connects with me because of the work that I do. So I worked with leaders every single day. And oftentimes as leaders, we get caught up in the task of the day. But if you don't connect with people, the tasks are always going to be very daunting. So people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So let's lean into what the I Care method is and how can you be an essential leader? Or maybe you already are. By the time we finish today, you will be able to note or check the box and say, yep, Kathy, I'm trekking on the right path. I'm good. Or you will say, Kathy, thank you for bringing that to light. And I may need a little more help or just some guidance. And we can definitely have another conversation about that. All right. Okay, so I Care. It's an acronym for, the C is for connect. I want to talk about how to help how your communication styles complements or could potentially create a barrier in how your vision or message is viewed. Now, the A is for articulate. Your communication helps others understand your message without you becoming frustrated or reactive. How many of you are saying, oof, yeah, that's the area that I need help in? Yeah. This is the part that really made me lean into this whole model and develop methods around it. And then the R is for responsibility. You are responsible for cultivating relationships and providing clear communication. As a leader, that's your job. Now, remember, you don't have to have people that are on payroll following you to call yourself a leader. Everyone serves in a leadership role, whether it be professionally or personally, and especially as business owners. Maybe you are currently a solopreneur. You are grinding and doing this thing all by yourself right now. But take the time to learn the skill set needed so that when you have employees, because I believe you will, yep, because that's a part of business, you want to grow. Nobody should ever, and I'm kind of getting on my soapbox, but let me step up and then I'll step down in just a moment. Nobody should want to remain a small business. Yep, I said it. You should structure your business so that you can either franchise, you can sell, or you can bring in other partners to expand. But the goal should never be to stay small. I am now stepping down off my soapbox. There you go. You're welcome. All right. Emotional engagement is that E. So your emotions affect your leadership style and ability to lead well and engage in healthy relationships. So here's what I want to do. I want to break down this model in bite-sized pieces with every letter so that you can have a better understanding of why this work is so important to me and how it's going to help you develop your skills so that you are or you will become an essential leader. All right. So the C is for connections. I believe that you need to make sure that you are connecting with people before you just start throwing out content. Have you ever had a leader that you felt made you feel like, are they talking to me or are they talking at me? There was just something about the way they said something to you. It just didn't just didn't feel right, right? And some of us that are a little more spicy than others might have said, listen, you better watch your tone when you're talking to me. But I believe a part of that, not all, a part of that is because there is no connection. That leader, or you, maybe we're talking about you, has not taken the time to connect with people so that they understand who you are and who they are. So, how do you create connections before introducing content or introducing a task? One way is to understand DISC. So put I have in the chat if you've heard of DISC before. I want to know who I'm talking to and how many of you have actually heard of DISC or actually taken a DISC assessment before. Okay. So here's what DISC is. DISC is a behavior assessment that gives you insight into your own and others' behavior styles and traits. It provides clarity on certain common trends and actions within people. So the acronym for DISC, DISC is an acronym for driven, for the D, influencer, for the I, steadiness, for the S, and conscientious for the C. So I'm going to break down each of these letters, and I am fairly certain that as I do that, you will kind of quickly identify and get a grasp on what DISC is and isn't. So let me tell you a couple of things first. So one thing that DISC does, it helps you to raise your self-awareness, who you are, how you respond, and it helps you to discover who your tribe is, right? It can really assist in dissolving conflict. So you know that boss we were just talking about that you're like, listen, you better watch your tone when you're talking to me. Understanding their DISC style is going to help dissolve how you feel about the way they said things sometimes because of them being maybe very direct, and how you can address them in making sure that they understand your style as well. Which leads into DISC provides clarity as well for you. And then it really does aid in relationship building. So we're talking about C for connections. Understanding DISC styles helps you to create that connection and dispel some of the myths or certain perceptions in advance. All right. And now every leader, we are all a makeup of all four styles, and an effective leader should use all four styles to really connect with their people. Now, let me tell you something. Here's a couple of things that DISC is not. DISC is not a part of your DNA. It is not deep rooted. I know you act just like your mama. You act just like your daddy, or there's certain things, right? It's not a part of your DNA. This is really based on just personality and behavior, right? DISC is not a diagnosis. So this can, while certain parts of it can change, because there are levels of it that is based on your current situation and your lifestyle. DISC is not permission to be blunt or unkind with your words, meaning, well, that's just how I am. I mean, take it or leave it. Guess what? When you are a business owner, people have the right to leave it. So we want to make sure that we are using kind words, being true to yourself, but also understanding that it's necessary for me to flex in order to have good relationships with others and to connect with others. And then also DISC is not a fix me tool. So here's one of the things that happens a lot. people do come to one of my disc workshops and they will say, oh, I am taking this home to my husband or my wife because I knew it. I knew that this is what they are and I need to tell them all the things. No, it's not a fix me tool. So just, be careful with that as well. Because even though I'm going to give you a very high level to all of these styles, you will automatically, it's just human nature for you to start judging people. So do not, that's my disclaimer, do not go and start judging people and say, I knew you were this, or I knew you were that. No, that's not what this is. All right. So here we go. The D is for driven. Here's a couple of things you need to know about D. They are doers. They are very active and kind of straight to the point. They're results oriented. They are the ones that see idle chatter as a waste of time. It's like they should be doing something all the time and on to the next thing. They don't like to get bogged down in the details, meaning that most Ds or driven people are visionaries. So they have these great big ideas, but they don't want to be in the weeds of actually doing the details of making it work, but they wholeheartedly believe it's going to work. All right. So let's talk about that influencer, the I. They are the talkers. They are the cheerleaders. They're very people oriented. They like small talk. They have no problem just having random conversations about something and nothing at all. And they're really okay with being in the spotlight. Yeah, if somebody got to stand up and somebody's got to be on camera, that's probably them. And then let's talk about that S. The S is for steadiness. That steadiness person is very detail minded. They are very methodical. They like to see things all the way through. They're typically very easygoing and dependable. So one thing about the S is they don't prefer change. So once it's kind of if it ain't broke, no need to fix it. Yeah, it's probably an S that came up with that quote. And then they need time to think things through. They are absolutely processors, right? So they're going to process it. They may mull around a little bit. But once they're good at something, they prefer not to mess with it too much. But they're also known as people that like to please others. So when we think about the detail minded, they want to make sure all the details, they give you all the notes, and they like that attention of, I've done a good job. Now, the C is for controller, not steadiness. I mean, the C is for conscientious, not steadiness. Sorry about that. And the C's often are known as controllers, not in a domineering way, but they just like to make sure things have decent and are in order. So they are very logical and rational. I will say that C's are most likely the ones that love a rule and a regulation. So when you are talking to them, talk about the facts. And do you have proof? They don't work well in just general statements. There's a beginning and end to things for most C's. And they are very concerned with procedures. So if you say, go 2 blocks up and to the left, when they go 2 blocks up and to the left, they want to know what's next so that they can process the things. So let me just go back for a moment and talk about all the letters and give you kind of a summary. So for the D's, I'm going to back up just a moment. So bear with me. So when we talk about DISC as a whole, the D's and I's, you see they're on the top register, right? So they are the ones that don't mind leading. They are fine with taking charge, taking the lead. They are typically the outgoing ones, the extroverts. Not always, but most times they are the extroverts. Now, the S's and C's are typically the introverts. They are still leaders, but they're okay with leading from behind. They don't need to get up and be on the mic or be in front of everybody. They want to do their job, do it well, and lead from behind. The last thing I want to tell you to kind of wrap up talking about DISC is the I's and the S's are most likely people, meaning that they thrive and are really good at connecting with people. Now, on the other hand, D's and C's don't mind connecting with people, but they are very task oriented, meaning that if there's a task that needs to happen, people may get shorted sometimes. So when I'm talking about making connections before content, you understanding everyone's style and the people that you are connecting with will help you know, how can I connect with them? If it's someone that's a D or C or perceived as a D or C, you could probably go right in and say, hey, how are you? Here are the 10 tasks that I need to get done today. No problem, they're on it. To say that same thing to someone that's known or suspected to be an I or an S, hey, how are you? Here's the 10 things that I need to get done today. Can they get it done? Absolutely. Do you need to give them a little more time and a little more conversation? Yes, probably. What that does is when you are flexing your style and leaning into what they need, you get better results. It creates that connection needed for them so that they want to do the job. I hope I just helped somebody with that. And I am going to make sure that I answer all the questions that you have in chat. Please, 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 please make sure that you are asking me questions. Keep the questions coming, comments coming. I am here to make sure that I get all of those things answered for you. All right, so we're going to skip ahead and talk about the A for articulate. So we're talking about the I care model. People don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. So the A is for articulate. In the chat, I want you to tell me if you are a person that is perfectly fine with communication. You think that you are a great communicator. You have no problems telling your story and bringing people along for the ride. You are clear with your company vision, your personal branding statement. You have no problems. I want you to put in the chat, I'm good. I'm good. So, for those of you that say, Kathy, I hate public speaking. I hate the sound of my voice. I get so nervous. I don't know what to say. I thought I was going to say this, but it didn't turn out that way. Put in the chat. Yep, that's me. That's me. Now, one more group. If you know that your business or your professional career is suffering a bit because you are paralyzed by public speaking, by holding meetings or speaking in public or communicating your thoughts, put in the chat, I need help. I need help. Okay. So I totally understand that, sometimes people see me now and they say, Kathy, you speak every single day, every single week, in different states, almost every other week. I am somewhere speaking about leadership development and developing your brand or your business. And you do fine speaking. You are good at this. If I hit your nerves, I would do it too. It wouldn't be a problem. So let me tell you something. It's just us, right? Is this a safe place to share? Tell me. I want to know now, is this a safe place that I can share and be open with you? So the Kathy Taylor that you see now is not the Kathy of maybe 2 years ago. I used to call myself the earpiece girl. What does that mean? That means that I wanted to write the curriculum. I wanted to write out everything and give it to someone else to say it. But what happened is I found myself frustrated, angry, annoyed. I felt so many sleepless nights. I was just in turmoil and there were all these emotions that I don't even know if I've given a name to this day sometimes. And the reason is because there were certain things that I knew that I was supposed to do, but out of my fear from speaking out, I pushed it off to someone else and wanted them to do what I knew that I should have been doing. So when they did not do it the way that I would have done it, had I not been too nervous, had I not been too scared, had I not played chicken, I was frustrated with them. I was angry with them. I did not show up as a great leader. I did not show up as a good influencer or manager. Why? Because I was giving my assignment, my God-given assignment, to someone else to do, and it wasn't their job. So I had to have that moment and kind of take back what I had given away. And people didn't even receive the information well from someone else. It's because it was what I was supposed to do. So this section on articulate is really meaningful to me because this is where I had to do the most work. So let me tell you something that one of my coaches, Charlotte Stallings, told me a couple of years ago. She said, Kathy, you have to respect the butterflies. And I was like, wait, what? She said, yeah, because guess what? Getting nervous, even for a person that speaks often or that's really comfortable in front of people and in front of the mic, they get the butterflies too. So you have to respect the butterflies and knowing that they're going to come. But how do you get better? You get better by practicing. All right, I got to move on from this, but I told you this is one of those areas that I had to really grow in, and I still work on articulating my words and making sure that I show up as the best version of myself. And that's what I help other people do as well now. So I want to give you 3 ways to become more articulate. The first one is being a team player. So why is this my first one? It's because you have to make sure that you are a part of it. As a leader, you need to make sure that you are a part of the team, but also understanding what role you play on that team and making sure that you articulate the difference is so crucial to what that looks like. Now, I know maybe you say, well, Kathy, I'm not the leader of my team, but any space that you show up, whatever team you're on, the better that you are at articulating and communicating your words, that makes people pay attention. So maybe you're not the leader of certain sections yet, but it could potentially come, and now is your practice time. All right. 2, public speaking. Leaders who are articulate usually excel at public speaking. You have to practice skills like your tone, your pace, and your volume. Being okay with those pauses, knowing where they go, knowing when to inflect your voice and you're speaking louder, or when to cool it off a bit. You know what your natural tone is. So are you a naturally soft-spoken person? So when you are speaking out or speaking in public, you know that you have to exert a little more energy with that. Or if you are like, hey, all the time, you're on 10 all the time, knowing when to kind of bring that back according to your audience. Okay. So maybe you're saying, well, Kathy, I have zero ambition to be a public speaker. So my rebuttal to that is, do you ever have to hold a meeting? If you are a business owner, do you have to talk to your clients? Are you a part of marketing your business? Are you the face of your business? So standing up on a stage is not the definition of public speaking. If you're talking to a group of people, and I'm just going to say outside of your home, could be inside of your home, that's public speaking. Oftentimes we want to think about these large groups and these large platforms, but it's not that. What you learn to do small will grow. So perfect it in small times because you don't know where you're going. You don't know how you'll have to show up. All right. And then 3rd, small talk. Leaders who have mastered small talk understand how to set boundaries while engaging to build trust and connections. So what does that mean? Let's go back to our DISC wheel, right? So if you are an I or an S, connecting with people, that's kind of your jam anyway. You don't mind talking to people. So you can talk about everything. But sometimes that limits progression, right? If you are on that DC side, then you may or may not do a good job with small talk because it's not your natural tendency to have small talk. All right, so let's finish up with articulate and move on to our next letter in the ICARE model, which is responsibility. How many of you find it easy to take responsibility for your words and actions as a leader? Tell me in the chat. No problems here. No problems here. And for those of you that it's the right thing, but sometimes that initial reaction is a little challenging. Can I get a struggle bus? Yep. Tell me. Remember, y'all have already told me that this is a safe place to share. So just put struggle bus. And it's fine. We're going to talk about both. So I'm going to give you 4 ways to take responsibility for your actions as a leader. So first one, let your words be your bond. Now, if you are, I'll say, over 40, this was one of our sayings, your word is your bond, right? So let your words be your bond, because taking responsibility for your actions as a leader, and I'm just going to put out there as a good human, is so important. People will likely trust you more when your actions match your words. I want to offer for your consideration to commit to personal accountability by following through when you make commitments to yourself and others without making excuses. So I will say, remember, let your words be your bond. And this includes letting your yes be yes and your no be no, and being okay with that. As a leader, it's so important for you to model yes being yes and no being no. And maybe is a real word, but don't use maybe if you know it's a yes or a no. All right. So number 2, focus on accountability. We're talking about taking responsibility for your actions. So you're going to focus on accountability. Take caution when you're tempted to blame others for a specific outcome instead of accepting personal responsibility. What that does is this builds strong relationships and empowers you to influence situations for the better. I think that as a leader, one thing essential to leadership is building trust. When you break trust with people because you start that blame game, that's a rub that's hard to come back from. So whenever you find yourself playing the blame game, take a step back and think about how you contribute to the issue. And then you need to model what that looks like, what it looks like to step up. It doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have hiccups. But as a leader, don't you respect that person so much more when you are able to, when they say, hey, I messed up, but I'm here to help fix it. Or maybe I didn't give you all the information you needed to make the best decisions. So I take responsibility for that. So again, model what responsibility looks like. Here's another one. Number 3, maintain a positive attitude. Complaining or engaging in negative self-talk can make you feel like you've lost control or have signs of low self-esteem. Have you ever had that leader or someone that's in your circle currently that if you say it's a great day, they're like, yeah, it's okay, nothing special about it. Or there's always this contradiction, or they make jokes that are kind of always not positive, but they put it off as a joke. Sometimes as leader, you have to do the hard things, right? So it's so important that you watch your attitude and watch your words, because your thoughts become your words and your words become your actions. And as an essential leader, it's your job to help take responsibility and for how to model that. And then I want to give you this fourth one. That's take action. Yeah. Make goals and steps forward. Step forward achieving them. When you actively pursue a goal, it will reinforce your capability for self-improvements and help motivate you and others. As a leader, the goal is not for you to have all the answers, to know all the things. The goal is for you to take action. That's it. To help your team, to help your colleagues, to be a part of the solution and not the problem. That's a big part of taking action. So here's what we've done. We've talked about the C. The C is for what? Connection. C is for connection. We are creating connections before we get into content or doing tasks. And then we followed with that A. The A is for articulate. I'll say it this way. Say it before you say it. We want to make sure that we are articulating our message in a clear and concise way so others can follow our brand and our vision. And then the R, you guys are doing great. The R is for cheat sheet right here in front of you, responsibility. The R is for responsibility. And we talked about 4 ways for you to take responsibility as a leader. Now, we are in the home stretch of the ICARE model. And the E is for emotional engagement. I want to make sure that we talk about 2 things. One, to be an essential leader, you have to have the skill of leading well. So I'm going to tell you how to lead well. And then how many of you are familiar with emotional intelligence? Maybe you've taken an assessment or you've studied, or you have some insight on what that looks like. It's perfectly fine if not, because we're going to lean into that just a little bit as well. Okay? So lead well. A part of having essential leadership skills is knowing how to lead well. And I want to tell you what that looks like. So the first L is for listen. You have to make sure that you are listening more than you speak. And then the E is for engage, engaging. Leaders actively engage with their teams. You cannot, let's go back to that C really quick. You have to know how to manage connecting with people, which means that you're engaged, so that they don't look at you as that person versus one of us. And then accept is the A. Leaders appreciate and accept the people they work with and invest time. So making sure you make time for people. And then the D is for develop. Leaders consistently create development opportunities. Again, you should not be the one that knows all the things and nobody on your team can function without you. And then let's talk about the well. So we talked about lead, let's talk about well. The W is for welcome. Leaders welcome new ideas and is willing to try something different. The E is for enable. Leaders release appropriate authority to help others grow. You always want to make sure that your business, your company, your department, whatever you do can run without you being there or being present 24/7. And then lifelong learners, that's the first L. You value education, you value promoting and learning new things. And then the last L is level-headed. Cooler heads prevail. No matter what your DISC style is, no matter what your leadership style, no matter what you've seen, leaders always provide a safe place for others to share. So that's the lead well model. Now, I want to wrap up and talk about emotional intelligence. So here's the high level version. Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify, use, understand, and manage your emotions positively and constructively. So let me tell you my version of what emotional intelligence could look like. Emotional intelligence looks like looking in the mirror, which is the self-awareness and self-management section, and then looking out the window, which is the social awareness and relationship management section. I do a workshop related that's talking about emotional intelligence, and you can absolutely get on my list to attend. My debriefing, my quick debriefing is at no cost, or there's a minimal cost for it. So just being a part of my email list will get you all the information you need about that. Okay, so let's wrap this up. I Care model wrap up. The C is for connections. The A is for articulate. The R is for responsibility. The E is for emotional engagement. I care. As an essential leader, you need to make sure that people know that you care. Why? Somebody just put it in the chat for me, because I need you to remember this. I need you to document it and know that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That is the essence of essential leadership skills. So here's the thing. I think we are better together. And so I have partnered with some phenomenal women as a part of my team. And so if we are working together, if we are connecting, you may talk to one of them. So I just wanted you to put a face with a name. And I have office hours. Yep. This is a way for you to work with me or to work with a member of my team at a fraction of the cost that it for individual sessions. All right. And these are some of the things that we look at. Topics include between my transformational coaching and leadership development. Now, those sessions are $49. However, because you are a part of this Blaze Virtual Summit, I am inviting you to take part in one session at no cost to you. That's right. There's that $49 will be waived just by you using the code Blaze Group. Now, here's how you can get on the list. Here's how you can be invited. You can simply send an email to my admin. I'll put that in the chat as well, admin@IamKathyTaylor.com, or visit my website and just send me a message. Either way, and just let me know you were a part of this summit, and we will make sure that the session of your choice, because you'll get to know the topics, where you'll get one session at no cost to you. All right. Well, here's my information. Let's keep in contact. It has been my pleasure to spend this time with you today. And I hope that we get to connect soon. And I'm here for any questions, and let's continue the conversation. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Kathy, thank you so much for this session. Kathy, you were on, but you're off again. Let me see if I can see you. But because of the time, I will say because of the time, we won't be able to have a robust Q&A. We're kind of bleeding into the next session, but this one's very, very rich. We had over 50 minutes of content in this one. So thank y'all for being so engaged, so in the chat. I've seen your questions and Kathy's actually been answering them. So it looks like everyone's been answered as well. So make sure even in the replay, you come back and look at that. But Kathy, thank you so much for this segment. Do you have any quick words before we pivot over?
Now, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I have enjoyed hanging out in the chat with everybody, and hopefully I got to everybody's question. If you ask me a question that I did not answer, I'll be happy to do that. Just shoot me an email or send me a private message, and I'll be happy to jump in and answer that question for you. This is truly my life work, talking about leadership development and helping you get clarity in your communication and all the things, anything dealing with DISC, emotional intelligence. And Casey and I are going to figure something out. So I know a few of you have taken a quick DISC via Truity, which is one of the sites that I use, but I'd love to do a deeper dive with the Blaze group. So we're going to figure that out too.
Yeah, that would be super dope. We'll circle back and we'll promise to bring that information about that back to the community. Kathy, again, it was so rich. I'm sorry we can't dive into the Q&A, but you definitely gave us a lot of content relative to, the more truncated stuff. So I do believe, based on the chat, that everyone's actually received a ton, and you're incredible at what you do. So thank you so much.
Definitely my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, Casey.
Of course, thank you. All right, y'all. Want to make sure that we kind of stretch and are able to get through the last couple of sessions of the day. Day 4 is almost over, okay? Day 4 is almost over. We only have 1 hour left. That is it, 1 hour left. And as always, the vendors are in the Buy Black Market so that you can engage with them. The tables are in the lounge so that you can engage. Literally, I don't know why my nose ring was out. Literally in the next 24 hours, okay? Literally in the next 24 hours, the Blaze Virtual Summit is over. Okay. So I want you to definitely take advantage of all of this. Kathy, DM her, email her, right? Y'all can chop it up in the lounge. She has a booth. She's been doing incredible things in the booth, and people have learned so much. Even this morning, folks were saying they enjoy engaging conversations with her. Someone came on the stage and actually talked about Kathy, right? So we have to move this along right here, right? But this is still your house. And in 24 hours, the summit is over. Okay, I promise. We're not here on Saturday. We're not here on Sunday. Okay, so definitely this last hour, I ask that you engage. We have 2 brilliant, amazing, dynamic people that are about to hit the stage. One being our girl Erica Hill. Erica Hill has a Blaze Talk called Just Start the Damn Biz, sis. Somebody out there is still doing a hobby and not a business. Somebody out there has big dreams, but they're still in a 9-to-5 because, right, they're more risk adverse and they're afraid to bet on themselves. And Erica Hill is coming with a Blaze Talk called Just Start the Damn Biz, sis. And Racine, we enjoyed Racine yesterday. Y'all remember she's the one that told us a man is not a plan, right? A man is not a plan. She is a financial advisor. She's absolutely brilliant. She's coming at you to end this day as promised. We are bringing money talks every single day because this is a piece we got to get really, really comfortable about because it is the key make it or break it indicator in a recession, right? Like cash flow generation is just, what can kill you, even if your ambitions are dope. So she is coming with a session that's called The Financial Future is Female. And after that, we're done, okay, for today. And we only have tomorrow left. That's it. I'm saying this a million times because I want y'all to know that it's like almost over, okay? So, I mean it. Get what y'all need from this, okay? Get what y'all need from this. Before we go to the very, very end, real quick check on the leaderboard. We have China still holding down number 1. We have Dana still holding down number 2. We still have Alexis holding down number 3. But there are some upsets, okay, in the other numbers, okay? Yeah, in EM. Winnie has rushed up to number 4. Okay, I wasn't even ready. Winnie is at number 4 with 7,195 points. That's crazy. Christina King is at number 5. Amber Hurt is at number 6. Crystal Paulin is at number 7. Ahira is number 8. Coach Uwim is number 9. Crystal Mordyke is number 10. Tatiana is number 11. Nicole Player is number 12. Okay, Auntie Yvonne is still holding down the number 13 spot. Karen Moore is still holding down 14. And Coach Michelle Manning is still holding down spot number 15. Still anybody's game. The winners are announced tomorrow and is locked. Okay, the Blaze Business Awards are announced tomorrow. Judges sent in their polling yesterday. All results came in last night at midnight, including the People's Choice voting alongside the judges. And so winners will be announced tomorrow. I hope y'all make that. It's at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Winners across various categories so that we spotlight them in lieu of sponsors because they're the ones doing the work and there are the business models to follow. We are who we've been waiting for. All right, we're going into Erica's session right now. I'll see y'all on the other side. It is just start the damn biz, sis. Peace.
Emoji in the chat of how you're feeling. I know we're coming up towards the end of the day and we have one more day left. So go ahead and drop an emoji in the chat of how you're feeling and how has the summit treated you. Well, in honor of the theme for this summit, Bend But Don't Break, I will be presenting Just Start the Damn Business, Sis, on a bent but not broken road. And so we'll start our engines today with just starting your damn business and talking about the blessing and curse of perfectionism and procrastination. Since this story is based on the real timeline of the launch of my business, we're going to start out with all facts and no cap. Today, I will tell a tale on launching a business using branding, marketing, and social media. Our first official stop is the car wash to take care of some housekeeping and clear up some things before we get down to business. So on the bottom of the screen and some of the gems that I'll be dropping today are keywords that I want you to drop in the chat as I am talking. So right now, to get started, I want you to drop Blaze in the chat because without Blaze, I would not be here. Who is that girl that I am? My name is Erica Hill. I'm a CEO, mom of 3, and college dropout. Here is me at a vending event that you'll hear about later in this presentation that I went to in April of this year. I've dubbed myself the founding mother because we don't do founding fathers over here at Blaze. I'm a mom of 3, pictured left to right. My youngest, Ali, he just was born in February. He just turned 4 a couple days ago, actually. My oldest, Janae, is in the middle. She'll be 4 in August. And then Amira on the right, she's 2 and she'll be 3 in November. I'm a college dropout. This is me touring the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee Peck School of the Arts before I actually decided that that's where I was going to attend university. Now let's get into business because I know I got them pressed. So I own 24 Pressure Press-On Nails LLC, and our company is made for us and by us. We're a Black women-owned, eco-conscious press-on nails, nail care, and accessories brand. Our next stop is in spring of 2021, where once upon a time in a land far, far away lived a college dropout whose business created her happily ever after. On the big broken couch that I'm sitting on right now, on March 4th, 2021, I decided to drop out of art school, where I was studying art and technology for 5.5 years. It was a really hard decision, losing the stability of school, the structure and the financial support that school provided, but I always knew that I would be doing this for another company, so why not start my own? And I want to talk about the Mary Kay Miracle. On March 10th, 2021, 24 Pressure Press-Ons LLC was incorporated. I got my entrepreneurial journey started back in 2019, actually trying to sell Mary Kay. And it was this autobiography that forced me or pushed me to start my own company, because it really annoyed me that she talked about, you know, it being a struggle as a white woman in corporate America, only making 75 cents to the white man's dollar, but just like completely disregarding the fact that Black men made 50 cents to the white man's dollar and Black women made 25 cents to the white man's dollar at that time. And so it really just pushed me to start my own track in the beauty industry. And Paid in Full happened on April 10th, 2021. I established my business checkings and savings accounts through a credit union called Educators, which is located in southeastern Wisconsin. I'm actually based out of Milwaukee, but I used my COVID checks and my school refund money to fund this business back in 2021. Our next stop is the detour, because I got to do a brake check and unpack this baggage, because over the next year, the bag definitely was not secured. And I definitely fumbled quite a few bags over the next year. May 2021 to May 2022, we spent the next year creating different kinds of content. And like the first one, this was an ad campaign that will soon be rolling out with this nail polish that we unboxed as a wholesale order. And then this was a mood board that was created for this collection with clothing that was actually purchased to match the nails. And like I said, I fumbled a couple of bags, because then I should have spent that money that I spent on inventory on education. And I tried to kind of skirt around it with business summits that were for free. I ended up pitching a bunch of different times over the next year and didn't get anything. And finally, I think it was a couple days before I got this email. It was probably May 20th of 2022. I had submitted an application for this $100,000 pitch competition through crowdfunded summit with LaunchBoom. And they told me that I made it into the top 5. I spent all weekend working on a pitch presentation that no one was ever going to see, because the following Monday on May 23rd, 2022, they sent me an email saying that they actually mixed up my email with an actual finalist, and I did not, in fact, make it to the top 5. And the best they could do was give me a VIP ticket as a way to convenience the inconvenience. But it really hurt. It really hurt. But little did I know, a couple weeks later in June of 2022, I would fast forward to the future at the Blaze Virtual Summit. On June 15, 2022, my life changed forever when I first entered the summit and seen Lindsay Peel and Casey Richardson's podcast release for their digital Black Wall Street. It moved me so much because they literally used the same words, digital Black Wall Street. I said I was going to rebuild the next digital Black Wall Street in my first business plan that I had ever written for a pitch competition that I lost. But it just moved me so much, because it was like, how does somebody who's on the other side of the planet is using the same verbiage as me? And on day 2, June 16, 2022, I took a picture in the Flick photo booth at the summit and changed my Facebook profile picture to that, where it would stay for the next year and a half. And on day 3, June 17, 2022, I made the very brave decision to get up on stage with Casey and talk to her about all of my losses, all of my failures. And she was so moved by what I said, she offered to mentor me for free. And I literally can't thank her enough because we've been connected at the hip ever since. Our next stop is in fall of 2022, where Black girls are magical. So get ready for your close-up because we branded the black carpet for this premiere. I'm gonna first jump into my Slick Rick page. That is my modeling page on Facebook. October 31st, 2022, I launched my first pre-launch marketing campaign. And I literally made myself the main character and made myself into a movie. We were inspired a lot by it, and I channeled my inner Pennywise for some of this Black Girl Magic promo. Then my magazine on November 11th, 2022, I launched my business magazine, Black Leaders Increasing Net Gains, and wrote my first movie review for this marketing campaign. And I talked to Casey a little bit in the review about how it's scary for Black women to be the face of their brand. So I opted to be the arm and the leg in this marketing campaign. And then I showed my face on March 19th, 2022 for our pre-launch film screening. I actually went to go see Black Panther, and then I just photoshopped all of my information over the movie posters from the movie theater. And it was a lot of fun doing this campaign. And I am looking into also starting a cinema called Netflix. We'll see how we'll do with the competition, Netflix. Our next stop is in December of 2022, where I was a vendor for the Blaze Virtual Summit Winter 2022. And the theme there was No Longer My Burden. On December 5th, we opened up the Black Vibe Market for the first day. We had our booth set up, and it was just a lot of fun being able to provide all of these things virtually for people to kind of look at and see. On December 8th, so day 4 of the summit, I actually booked a podcast with She Breathes Life through the DM chats in the AirMeet platform. So real life connections do actually happen through this summit. I sat down with her over FaceTime a couple weeks later, and we talked about our businesses. And then on day 5, the last day of the summit, I came out of nowhere on December 9th and placed 12th on the leaderboard, and I won a Blaze NFT. Our next stop is winter of 2023. Marketing is my life, so I made it into a magazine and nailed every cover. I want everyone to drop bling, drop the word bling in the chat. Black Leaders Increasing Net Gain. On January 31st, 2023, we actually released the article on February 1st because we received the NFT late on the 31st of January, but our cover for January was about NFTs and cryptocurrency. The cover for February happened February 9, 2023. And this was my maternity shoot. My son was born February 2nd, which was actually the day before my birthday. He was almost a twin. And so I talked about raising a trust fund baby is what I hope to have in the future. And then in March, on March 14, 2023, we released this cover, and the article we wrote was about a local fashion designer here in Milwaukee that designed this shirt, and his brand is called Unfinished Legacy. Check it out, check it out. Our next stop is April of 2023, where the perks of being a wallflower are you get to bend like no one is watching. And the joke is on you because on April 1st, 2023, we were actually a vendor for the Sarah Ball Alice Craft Fair. And This is a picture of me standing outside of the museum. This is a picture of the Milwaukee Brewers inspired press-on nails that we sold that day called the Walk in the Park. And then these are just some fun pictures of us kind of turning up after the wind down. They had an open bar and a food truck. And so it was a really, really fun event. Then April 18th, 2023, I became the brand ambassadors for these 3 brands. I am now part of the Balloon Effect, Sauce Avenue, and Habits New York team. Be on the lookout for collaborations in the future with these clothing brands and our press-on nails. And then the Brady Bunch on April 30th, 2023, I submitted our application for the Bring Your Business to Brady Street here in Milwaukee. It is a sidewalk sale that Bandit MKE, which is a vintage thrift store, is hosting, and they picked a whole bunch of different local businesses to come vend outside of their storefronts all summer and fall. And so check us out in September, on September 2nd, 2023, from 12 to 6 p.m. 1224 East Brady Street, Milwaukee, if you can. Our next stop is May of 2023, and I want you to show me your net worth, and I'll show you how I virtually networked all month long. So our first event was with Blaze and the Literacy Lab on May 11th, 2023. I want everyone to drop in the chat backbone, because we are the backbone as Black women. I got some really good advice from Hannah, who directed the backbone. And the film was phenomenal. It was about being a Black woman in the University of South Carolina. It was this amazing film, and she did a wonderful job giving me some advice. On May 13th, 2023, we attended the Small Business Day Milwaukee event. I need everyone to drop launch in the chat. It was the largest virtual startup launch event in Milwaukee. We had so much fun. I got a new business plan template. They gave us access to building a free website. It was a lovely, lovely event if you were just starting your business. Then on May 16, 2023, we attended the Testimonial Tuesday of the Purpose of Pajamas, hosted by Brains and Beauty organization. I actually met them in March of this year at the Blazes, The Roads Less Travel, the conversation about entrepreneurship. And I want everyone to drop the word testimony in the chat, because their activity actually was what helped me structure this presentation that I am giving today. Then on Memorial Day weekend, May 27th through the 28th, 2023, we attended Marketing by Monrae's The Lockdown, a 2-day sales accelerator challenge. I want everyone to drop lockdown in the chat. We actually were on lockdown for failure to market enough sales to pay our state tax bills, two tax seasons in a row, and we spent 2 days in lockdown in the virtual Kill Crush maximum security prison. And then that leaves us with today. So on June 22nd, 2023, as our time comes to an end, I will leave you with these 2.4 gems. Life is a highway. Success, much like life, is a journey, not a destination. So buckle down and enjoy your ride. This gem was inspired by the animated film Cars. Studying animation, I love cartoons, and I think it's just a really good way to kind of look at things. You get bogged down in, you're not getting where you're going fast enough, and then you miss out on all the wonderful things that you've done so far. Next one is find your tribe. March to the beat of your own drum, and anyone who is meant for you will follow. Tried and true, download the Table X Tribe app today by Blaze. This is my tribe. This is my home. Literally coming back a year later just getting up here and being so scared I couldn't even turn on my camera, and now I'm on this stage speaking in front of all of you today. So yeah, download this app and become part of our family, because we literally are a family. And the last one I'll leave you with is knowledge is not power. The execution of knowledge is power, because a mind is a beautiful thing to waste. This gem was inspired by a high-level conversation episode with 19 Keys and Billy Carson. Wonderful podcast about excelling financially, business, anything business related, spiritually too. I say all of these things to say, just start your damn business, sis, because I have procrastinated long enough. I'm not waiting for any validation. I'm just been doing the damn thing, and it's just been really wonderful to reflect on all the things that I've done since I started my business here with you today. And even if people don't acknowledge you, sis, just start the damn business, because the world needs to hear it.
I'm so proud of you, Erica. I just want to say
I'm
that.
crying already.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of you. So many people say, what if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? And if I look at what's happened with you and I over the last 12 months, it's me, without saying these words, but standing beside you to say, but what if you fly? What if you fly? What if you fly? And so for you to show your road of bending but not breaking, I hope that as you've shown this to us, you sit in the gravity of all that was on the other side of your decision, because every single part in your journey, every stop, every gas station, every learning lesson was a decision. If anyone has anything to say to Erica, definitely hit the hand button. We have a few minutes for this last session. After this, Racine, I'm sorry, we're a few minutes over, but we'll spend about 3 minutes holding this space, because literally, and I'll watch for the hand, y'all. It's just a hand. I'll bring you on stage. Literally, when I met Erica at a summit, it was on the stage and she was crying, telling me how she was gonna give up. Like that, it was no, it was no hope in her. It was just like, I'm done. Like I'm done. And so to see what she's done in 365 days is nothing short of brilliant. It is nothing short of holy. It is nothing short of extraordinary. So I'm so proud of you, sis. But I'm going to bring up the first hand on the stage. Ahira, you have the mic. Feel free.
Hey, Erica, sister girl, thank you so much. Honestly, your story and your testimonies resonated with me so much, because where you were a year ago is where I was this week. Well, prior to this week, I will say that. I was definitely afraid, I was dragging my feet because I just did not know what to expect. I didn't know how well I would be received in my vision. But, once again, hearing your story and hearing your journey, it just reignited again and reassured me that what I am doing is my calling. And so from me to you, thank you so much. I know every step that you have taken on this journey was not an easy one, not by any means, but I see you and I hear you, and just thank you so much, sis. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ahira. Very felt. I'm bringing to the stage Crystal. Crystal, you have the mic.
Thank you. Erica, just bravo. Honestly, I think I appreciate you showing like that the road is not straight, that there are detours, that you will fumble, and that you just keep going. I appreciate that the variety of what you're doing, even though it stays into the space of who you are and in that art and that creative and that design space. And it just, again, and I think I mentioned this before with Kathy's session, just I really appreciate in this space being able to see the fullness of people, right? Because the 24 press, like I saw the page, but I'm like, okay, these are press on nails, but I don't know Erica Hill. And so getting to hear about Erica Hill and all of the things that you do, I think every woman in here has so much variety, right? We may have one business that we're talking about in this space, but there's so much more to who we are and what we're doing and the big thoughts that we have. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming up to the stage that first time and being honest and open and vulnerable, because it matters. And I hope that feeling or that just ability to just share reaches the people in here who maybe have been listening the whole time. Maybe they're not the ones that are in the chat. Because I know my first time I was a spectator. I was looking around, silently in my own space, but I was like, what is this? Right. And so I just want to acknowledge that it's different for everyone, but everybody has space to grow, and just like the path is not straight. So amazing, amazing. So good job. Keep going. And love y'all.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And we love you, Mama. Auntie Yvonne is coming up, and then China. China will be the last one. Auntie Yvonne, the mic is yours.
All righty, hold on. I had to serve y'all some face. All right, young lady. Thank you. I am proud of you. Your journey rivals many corporations. They don't know. You got that out the mud.
Literally.
Started from the bottom, now we here. You did it on your own and on your own terms. And I'm extremely proud of you for that. Plus, your roadmap was like, damn, I'm tired. Because, she did all of this here. I'm going to have to go back and look at mine. I'm like, I don't remember if I worked that hard, but I still need to lay it out. Wow. You did the damn thing.
Thank you.
And that's all I got. I'm proud of you. The village is proud of you. You did the damn thing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Ashe. Thank you, Auntie Yvonne. Yeah, the village is proud of you, sis. The village is proud. I need you to sit in that. The village.
I wouldn't be here without the village, literally.
We proud, sis.
What are my home?
Ashe. China, you're the last one to hit the mic. It is yours.
Hi, Erica. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I'm normally in the chat typing. I couldn't take my attention from you. Like, for once, I was actually just sitting here, I couldn't type anything. I was just focused on what you were saying, and you're so inspiring, and I just want to thank you. You don't know how much you have just helped me. More than you know. I don't even know how to put it in words, how you just helped me. And I just want to thank you. So thank you so much, Erica, for everything. And I cannot wait to see you just weeks from now, months from now, years from now. Like, I'm
follow us on social media.
Yes. I cannot wait to just follow you, and I'm just thankful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, China. Thank you so much. And then I'm gonna give you. This isn't a question. Dang, I was definitely about to give her a rep in these questions, y'all. But okay, this is not a question; it's a comment. So you get a pass on answering questions, Erica. Alexis Miller says, "Very proud of you, Erica. Keep going. Have you considered?" Oh, this is a question. Come on, Alexis. Have you considered mentoring young mothers in your hometown? You are light.
So I'm actually looking to expand into my own company's brand ambassadorship program soon. I don't know. Everything has just been kind of everywhere. I've just been doing stuff, but I ain't been lying. I got the receipts to prove that I'm really going to do it, but that's something that is coming soon. So like I said, follow us on social media to stay in the loop, because we got big things coming.
That's a brilliant idea. Yeah, and have a whole bunch of people selling your stuff. It's a brilliant idea. I just want to say to you, sis, and we got to move. We coming very soon. I want to say to you that was a blueprint. Like that, what you did was a blueprint. It was bigger than your journey. It was a template, okay? Because you mixed education, you mixed conferences, you mixed showing up as a vendor virtually and digitally. You mixed community where you came together for philanthropic causes. You came together for regulatory, social causes. You did marketing and promoted not just yourself, but other people in your community. That was a blueprint. That was a blueprint. Instead of, even though you had need, Erica, even though you needed resources, and I know we talked a lot of times. I saw your tears. Even though you
take me no long story.
I know, right? You desperately wanted people to tag you and to share you and like you, but what you did was you didn't operate out of your scarcity, right? You actually fed your soul, right? And you fed other people's soul. So everything you're experiencing, you deserve it. You always did, but I'm happy you're experiencing it in the land of the living, mama. Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Casey. You got to give Casey her flowers one more time.
You deserve it. You deserve it. Brilliant job. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Keep going, okay?
Thank you. Bye, guys.
All right, y'all. Absolutely beautiful. So proud of her, from the audience to the vendor booth to the stage, right? Super dope. We are going to end the day, okay, with the money talk. This is from our girl, Racine Reichert. The financial future is female. And again, like all these other money talks, it is very important that we sit in this stuff. Sometimes money talks are uncomfortable, right? But take these gems. And then day 4 is done, okay? And we literally are done tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will just tell you so you get your mind right. I always do this, okay? Because I know at the end, it gets a little touchy now. Tomorrow, there are only 2 sessions. That's how close we are to the end. Okay. We're going to open the day with a sound bath meditation. For those of you who have never experienced that before, it is going to be powerful. An amazing Black woman out of Tanzania is going to be giving us a sound bath meditation. We're going to start the morning in grounding. Okay. It will be live sound bath meditation. These are the tools we must have for bending and not breaking. And then after that, we just got 2 sessions. Listen, I know, I see y'all in the chat. Yes, only 2. I promise. And then we're going to go into the award ceremony. We're going to award deserving businesses. And we're going to give them a whole lot of press, a whole lot of PR, a whole lot of promotion for a year because they doggone deserve it. And we ain't worried about other people changing their rules for us, right? We will be the change we want to see. To answer Auntie Yvonne's question, the lounge, listen, we'll keep the lounge open until, let's say, midnight. Okay, I think that's fair. Midnight Eastern on the 23rd of June. Okay, so we'll keep the lounge open until midnight on the 23rd. The booths will be open as well, but after that, it's going to be gone. It will vanish, I promise. I just want y'all to know now, it's going to vanish. All you're going to have is replays, okay? But let's go into our last session with a full stomach, a full belly, right? And an open mind. Love y'all super deep. See y'all in the last session.
And I am here today to just really